What up, Entourage? So, we are getting closer to peak fantasy football season. I'm excited. The NFL draft is arguably one of my favorite events. Maybe it is my favorite event. I love seeing how GMs, think. I love seeing how, which teams are going to reach, which teams are going to get some steals, who's going to fit in the right offense. And with that said, I want to bring you guys the top 10 wide receivers in this draft. Now, this is going to change depending on where they go, but right now, based on talent alone, I want to let you guys know who I like the best. And if you like these types of videos, if you want to see more of this, please make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. Well, let's get into it. All right, starting number 1. So there's a big debate. CeeDee Lamb, Judy. CeeDee Lamb, Judy. Well, I'm here to tell you, based on upside, talent alone, I mean, they're both extremely talented, but I do think CeeDee Lamb, just because he's a little bit bigger, possesses more upside. I mean, this guy, he just catches everything. You just put it up there and he is going to come down with the football. And all the comparisons that you hear with DeAndre Hopkins, they're true. They're accurate, because DeAndre Hopkins also never drops a ball, except for last year. He had a couple of drops, but typically he does not drop the football. He's a sure-handed receiver, not super fast, but knows how to get open, knows how to separate, knows how to use his body, and CeeDee Lamb is that type of player. So that is why I put him as my number 1 receiver. My number 2 receiver, no surprise here, is Judy. I love Judy, and I think he might be the most pro-ready because he's just so slippery, so hard to tackle. He could take those short passes and make them into big games. His pro comparison to me, I haven't heard anybody say this, but very similar to Antonio Brown. Not the biggest, but they could do the most with their size and so dangerous with the ball in their hands. So Judy, really like him. And I didn't say who I would like CeeDee Lamb to end up with, but I think CeeDee Lamb would be the perfect fit for the Oakland Raiders, because the Raiders need a true number 1 receiver, and they are going to feed him the football. Because, I mean, Tyrell Williams, far from a number 1. Darren Waller's nice, Hunter Renfrow in the slot, but John Gruden loves to feed his receivers. Mike Mayock is on record as saying that he loves Lamb, and I would love to see him go to the Oakland Raiders. As far as Judy, I really hope that the rumors of Denver trading up for Judy are true, because I think he's such a great compliment to Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton being that bigger, more physical receiver, red zone threat, and Judy, that slippery, guy that could just make things happen out of nothing. So I think that would be the perfect fit if Judy was indeed to go to Denver, but they'll probably need to trade up for him. My next guy on my list, at first I was a little hesitant to put him here because I don't really like speed guys. But as I started looking more, I like speed, but guys that are just fast, blazing speed, just go deep routes, they tend to be a little busty. But as I looked at more tape, Henry Rugg is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen. And the crazy thing about it, he's only 5'11", but he plays a lot bigger. The Tyree comparisons are true, but he's more than a speed guy. He's really, really good at going up and catching the football. Has very, very good hands, and I think his situation is going to depend more on the offense than Judy or Lamb. I hope that he goes into the right situation. A team for a player like Rugg would ideally be the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe the New York Jets, although Adam Gase, you never know with this guy. But it looks like he's probably going either to the Jets. I heard they love him. Maybe Denver if the Jets don't select him. Philadelphia will probably need to trade up to get Henry Rugg. But with Carson Wentz's arm, he'd be an ideal fit there, although I think that's the least likely scenario. My number 4 receiver, I have Denzel Mims. Now, he might be a little higher on my list than most, but this guy actually might have the most upside, even more so than CeeDee Lamb, because he's more of a physical specimen. This guy is 6'2", I believe, 4.38 40 time. So he's big, he's fast, and unlike another big receiver who we'll get to later, this guy plays big and he's nasty. He reminds me a lot of Terrell Owens, Dez Bryant, in that mode where they just play angry. And I mean, he's got all the physical tools, and when you got the physical tools and the attitude to go get it, I absolutely love him. The sky's the limit, but he's gonna have to go in the right situation. So maybe Philadelphia, because a lot of people are saying that he reminds them of Alshon Jeffrey, another physical receiver. He'd be a really good fit there, and they could probably get him probably a second-round pick. I don't know if they want to select him with their first-round pick. I don't know if they want to risk waiting for him in the second round because he might not be there when they pick in the second round. So who knows what they do. They definitely need a receiver, and they need a number one receiver, so he'd be perfect for the Philadelphia Eagles. My number 5 receiver. This guy's college career, I mean, amazing. It seemed like he always played biggest in the biggest games. He tore it up in the playoffs. I'm talking about, yes, Jefferson out of LSU. And what's crazy about Jefferson is he can play multiple positions. That's what I love about him. You could put him outside. You could put him in the slot. The crazy thing about Jefferson, too, is that he doesn't have one attribute. Like, he doesn't have the speed like Rugg. He doesn't have the physicality like Mims. But he just has a little bit of everything. He runs in the 4 or 5 range, slightly below, I think. And, you know, the multiple positions, that's a big thing. You can move him all around the field. And he's another one that's so sure-handed, comes up big in the biggest stage. He reminds me a lot of Marvin Jones. He's a little slender frame, but he's just like very, very long and lanky, over 6 feet. So he's not super tall, super fast, but he's versatile. And he knows how to go and catch the football. So definitely love me Jefferson. He projects more like a number 2 wide receiver, but you know, he might be one of those guys that could end up being a number 1 receiver in the right situation with the right quarterback. But I think more so, like I said, Marvin Jones, a little faster version of Tyler Boyd is what I see out of Jefferson at number 5. Now, this was hard because all of these guys kind of are interchangeable to a certain extent. And the last guy I feel that's interchangeable is Jalen Rhaegar. Oh man, this guy is like a Debo clone. I mean, even their measurements, they're both 5'11". Rhaegar ran a 4.47, Debo ran a 4.48. Debo's a little heavier at 214, but they both play nasty. Actually, Rhaegar's got a 42-inch vertical leap. That is insane, guys. So the athleticism is there. The burst, the first step. He could also return punts, do end arounds, kind of like Debo. The way the Niners used Debo, I hope he goes to the right situation. I don't know who I could see Rhaegar with. Maybe a team like, maybe even the Steelers. I don't know. Maybe if Philadelphia doesn't get Mims in the first round, they go with Rhaegar. So he would be a perfect fit, and he's going to be one of those players. I think he's NFL ready right now. I think he can make an immediate impact similar to Debo because he could do so many things, dynamic with the ball in his hands. I absolutely love Jalen Rhaegar. And another guy who's right below Jalen Rhaegar, who I love, another slot receiver, and by the way, you can move Rhaegar all around the field, is Devin DuVernay. And he's actually cousins with Kyler Murray. So, you know, the athletic genes runs in their family. And he is, to me, like, arguably the best slot receiver. Another player, dynamic with the football, super fast, runs, I believe, what I put here, a 4.39 40. So sub 4.4 40. And, I mean, you put him in a team like, I keep saying the same teams. It's almost like the Steelers, the Eagles, teams that have a quarterback with a big arm that can utilize their speed. So I absolutely love DuVernay. Now, this next section, these first 7 receivers, I feel like they can make an immediate impact, especially if they go to the right situation. The last 3, to me, it's like a wild card. They have potential, they have raw talent, but they're going to need some refining. I'm not sure they'll be able to make an immediate impact. And at number 8, I would put Higgins. Yes, T. Higgins didn't run at the combine. His pro day 40 was only a 4.58, something like that. But he actually is a lot faster on film. He reminds me a lot of AJ Green. Like, he has that upside, but there is some downside with him. He didn't play his best against stiffer competition, so a lot of people are worried about that. But again, it all comes down to the situation. If a team like, let's say, Green Bay, with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers gets him, then I like him a lot more. So he's a wild card. I think he's the best out of the 3 wild cards, T. Higgins. He definitely has upside and talent. He just needs to go to the right situation. We got to make sure that he's focused as well. But he catches the football. He goes up and gets it. He's a big guy. He's 6'4". That's why I compare him to Green. Not the fastest. Green was only a 4.5, which I guess is pretty fast for a guy that's 6'4". But it looks like T. Higgins is a little slower. But their games are similar. Short-handed, big receivers that go get the football. Next guy is Peoples-Jones. He's pretty raw, but he tore it up on the combine. The guy ran a He ran a 4.48. For a guy who's 6'2", 212, that's pretty darn fast. And he had the biggest vertical leap too. 44-inch vertical leap. That is insane, guys. That is insane. I wasn't as high on him. He's kind of like Higgins and Rugg. The more I watch film, the more I like it. Again, raw situation, but a team like the Packers, who need a receiver, like the Eagles, can mold these guys. And I would love to see, them land in the right spots, because they're going to need some. It's almost like DK Metcalf. If DK Metcalf didn't go to the right situation, I'm not sure DK Metcalf would have been as good without Russell Wilson. So hopefully they go to the right situation. And last, and probably least, is Laviska. A lot of people like him out of Colorado State. The problem with him is he's not explosive. He's big. He could catch the football, but I'm worried that he might have trouble getting separation at the next level, because he only runs a 4.58, and he's not going to just be able to bully NFL defensive backs. So I don't project him to be anything more than maybe a wide receiver 3, and he has a little bust potential. A couple other guys that have some bust potential that people seem to like are Brandon Ayuka. Not really sold on him. Again, in the right situation, I think he could do some work. He's a good receiver, but they played against inferior competition in college, so a lot of these deep balls that they were getting in college, I don't see them getting in the NFL. Michael Pittman, again, like Laviska, lacks the burst, wasn't too impressed. I think he'll have trouble getting jammed up by NFL cornerbacks, so I don't really like him. And another guy who a lot of people are liking right now is Hamler. Now, Hamler, in the right situation, he could be a good player. Like, he's almost like a Tavon Austin clone. Allegedly, what he said, he didn't run the 40 time at the combine, but he said that he could run a 4.27. I don't know about that, but he's small. He's only 5'9", could be fragile. Again, in the right system, if they utilize him, gadget plays, utilize some of that speed, he could be effective, but I don't think he projects anything more than, wide receiver maybe 4, somebody that could go in, a couple of plays, do some things on the offensive side, but nothing crazy. I don't know why these guys are getting, more hype than they really deserve, because 5'9", yeah, you're super fast, but anyway, so those are my top receivers. Let me know what you guys think. Who's too high, who's too low. If you have any questions, not only on receivers, anything fantasy related, please feel free to comment. Again, subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, because we're about to get it cracking, guys. We're going to get deep. That's how I roll. And I hope you guys tune in live, too. I'm going to be doing a live show for the NFL draft. But until then, guys, and you can always follow me on Instagram at fantasyfootballrapper, on Twitter at IamFFrapper. But until then, peace! I'm out.